Just leave quietly and no one gets hurt, Amber said, blocking my way to the kitchen door. She tapped her nails on the counter, my counter, while wearing my husband's favorite perfume. I took a sip of coffee, hiding the fact that my hands were shaking. Are you threatening me in my own house, Amber? Don't be dramatic, Olivia. David and I love each other. He's been unhappy with you for years. Why make this messy? Just pack up and go. No lawyers, no fights. You can even keep your car. How generous. I'm Olivia Chin, 34 years old, and I was watching my husband's 26-year-old mistress try to push me out of my home. The home I had spent years fixing while David was working late, which I now knew meant cheating. I looked up at the ceiling fan I installed last summer, more importantly at the tiny red light blinking on it. Amber noticed and frowned. What are you looking at? She asked, her confidence slipping. Oh, nothing, I said, standing up. Just admiring my work. Did David ever tell you I'm good with electronics? Before she could reply, I heard the front door open. David's voice rang out. Amber, is she giving you trouble? He walked in, still wearing his wedding ring. Perfect timing, I said, smiling and pulling out my phone. We were just talking about home improvements. David's eyes narrowed. He knew that smile. I had the same one when I caught him texting Amber at 2 a.m. What are you up to, Olivia? Just watching some videos. I turned my phone around, showing them live footage from the ceiling fan camera. Their faces went pale. You recorded us? Amber shrieked. That's illegal. In my own house? After you sent me threats? I swiped to show her email where she explained how they planned to kick me out. My lawyer says otherwise. David stepped forward, trying to act calm. Let's be reasonable. Oh, I have everything, I interrupted. Every plan, every secret, every lie. Did you really think I wouldn't protect myself? The blinking light on the fan seemed to mock them. They had no idea it was just the beginning. Delete it, David demanded. Or what? I asked. You'll take everything from me? Leave me with nothing but my car? I laughed and they flinched. Check your email, David. You'll find some interesting footage. The police will too. Amber panicked first. She grabbed her purse and turned to David. You said she would just leave. David lunged for my phone. Give me that. I stepped back, still smiling. The ceiling fan isn't the only camera, David. Every time you threaten me, I add more to the evidence. His hand froze mid-air. He looked around the kitchen, suddenly unsure. How many cameras? Where were they? You're bluffing, he said, but his voice shook. Check your email, I repeated. Oh, and that Rolex you bought Amber with our joint account. The one you told me you lost? There's footage of that too. They stood there, trapped between fighting and running. This isn't over, David muttered. You're right, I said, sipping my coffee. It's just beginning. My lawyer and the police will be here soon. They ran. No grand exit, just two people realizing their plan had failed. As the front door slammed, I forwarded the footage to my lawyer. A moment later, a text arrived. Received. Meeting with police at 2 p.m. Well done, Olivia. I smiled at the blinking red light. Sometimes the best way to win isn't to fight, it's to be prepared. And I had been ready for this moment for months. The next morning, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. David's family, his friends, even Amber's mother, everyone had an opinion about the footage that was now evidence in a criminal investigation. You've ruined my daughter's career. Amber's mother screeched through the phone. Those recordings could destroy her future. Your daughter ruined her own career when she decided to help my husband embezzle money. I replied calmly before hanging up. I was in my home office, reviewing security footage with Detective Martinez. She paused the video, showing David and Amber hunched over our desktop computer late one night. There, I pointed. That's when they were transferring money from our joint investment account. They thought using my computer would hide their tracks. Detective Martinez nodded, making notes. And you installed the cameras after receiving the first threatening email. Yes, Amber wasn't as careful as she thought. She used her work email to send me a friendly warning about leaving quietly, said it would be a shame if something happened to all my property while I was gone. The detective's lips tightened. Textbook intimidation. And this was before they started moving money. They got bolder after I didn't respond to the threats. Started small jewelry disappearing, documents going missing. Then last month, I noticed large transfers from our accounts. My lawyer, Sarah, walked in with fresh coffee and a thick folder. The bank statements confirm everything, detective. Multiple unauthorized transfers totaling over $200,000. All captured on Olivia's cameras. I took a sip of coffee, remembering the night I discovered the first transfer. I'd been reviewing our monthly statements, something David always mocked me for, when I noticed the discrepancy. That same evening, I caught him on camera assuring Amber they'd never get caught. "You'll get your dream house," he promised her, sitting at my kitchen counter. "Once we clear out the accounts and force Olivia out, everything will be perfect." Perfect. The word echoed in my mind as I watched them plot to destroy my life. My phone buzzed again. David this time. I showed the screen to Detective Martinez before answering on speaker. "Olivia." His voice was tight, controlled. "We need to talk. What you're doing, it's not too late to fix this." "Fix what, David? The money you stole? The threats? The conspiracy charges?" "Don't be dramatic. I was going to pay it back. You're making this bigger than it needs to be." Sarah leaned forward. "Mr. Chen, this is Sarah Williams, your wife's attorney. Any further communication needs to go through me." "You hired a lawyer?" He sounded genuinely surprised. "After everything we discussed about keeping things simple." "You mean after you and Amber decided I should leave with nothing?" I kept my voice steady. The cameras caught that conversation too. Silence on his end. "Then, those recordings won't hold up. You can't just spy on people. In her own home? After documented threats?" Detective Martinez cut in. "Mr. Chen, this is Detective Martinez. I suggest you get a lawyer, a good one." The call ended abruptly. I could almost see David's face, that familiar mix of anger and panic when things didn't go his way. "He'll try something else," I said, turning to Sarah. "He always does when he's cornered." As if on cue, my phone lit up with a text from my neighbor. "Two people just went into your backyard, called the police." I switched to the live security feed on my phone. There they were, David and Amber, trying to get into the back door, probably hoping to remove the cameras, destroy evidence. Well, Detective Martinez stood up, already calling for backup. "Looks like we can add breaking and entering to the charges." I watched through the cameras as police cars silently pulled up to my house. David was still working on the door lock while Amber kept watch. They were so focused on getting in, they didn't notice the officers approaching until it was too late. The look on their faces when the police announced their presence, that moment of pure shock and realization, was captured perfectly by my cameras. More evidence, more charges. Sarah squeezed my shoulder as we watched them being led away in handcuffs. "You okay?" I nodded, feeling strangely calm. "You know what's funny? All those times David called me paranoid for wanting security cameras. Said I was wasting money, being obsessive. Turns out being careful isn't such a bad thing." "Being careful saved everything," she corrected. "The footage, the bank statements, the emails, you've built an airtight case. They won't get away with any of it." Detective Martinez returned looking satisfied. "They're both in custody. We found lockpicking tools and some kind of device they plan to use on your cameras. Premeditated, documented attempted break-in while under investigation. The DA's going to love this." I thought about David sitting in a jail cell, probably still wondering how his perfect plan had fallen apart. How his quiet, agreeable wife had outmaneuvered him at every turn. "What happens now?" I asked. "Now," Sarah smiled. "Now we make sure they face consequences for every single thing they did. And believe me, the list is getting longer by the hour." I looked around my office, my home, everything they tried to take from me. The cameras were still recording, silent witnesses to the end of David's schemes. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Amber. "I'm sorry, I'll tell them everything." Too little, too late. But then again, the cameras had already caught everything anyway. 6 months after David and Amber's arrest, I sat in the courthouse listening to their sentencing. The judge's words echoed through the quiet room. "The evidence in this case is overwhelming," she stated, looking down at David and Amber. "Conspiracy, attempted theft, financial fraud, breaking and entering, and intimidation. The calculated nature of these crimes is particularly disturbing." I watched David in his ill-fitting suit, so different from his usual polished appearance. Amber sat beside him, tears streaming down her face. Neither would look at me. "Mr. Chen, you're sentenced to 4 years in prison." "Ms. Walker, 2 years with possibility of parole." Additionally, you'll both be required to pay full restitution." As they were led away, David finally turned to me. The anger in his eyes had been replaced by something else. Defeat. He'd lost everything: his job, his reputation, and his freedom. The prestigious accounting firm he worked for had fired him immediately after his arrest. No one wanted a financial advisor who stole from his own wife. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited with cameras, real ones this time. Sarah handled them expertly. "This case shows that domestic financial abuse is a serious crime," she told them. Thanks to Mrs. Chen's foresight in documenting everything, justice was served. My phone buzzed with a message from Detective Martinez. "Thought you'd want to know. They found more victims. Other women David scammed. Your cameras helped build those cases too." Later that evening, I hosted a small gathering at my house. The same kitchen where Amber had tried to intimidate me now filled with the people who'd helped me through everything. Sarah, Detective Martinez, my neighbors who'd called the police that day. To Olivia, Sarah raised her glass, "who proved that the best revenge is being smarter than your enemies." I smiled, thinking of the cameras still quietly watching over my home. I decided to keep them, not out of fear, but as a reminder. Sometimes the best protection is simply paying attention. You know what David said in his final statement to the judge? Detective Martinez asked, sipping her wine. He claimed he never thought you'd fight back. Said you were always so agreeable, so trusting. That was his mistake, I replied. He thought quiet meant weak. He never understood that trust should be earned, not taken for granted. The doorbell rang. Another delivery. Since the story hit the news, I've been receiving letters from women in similar situations asking for advice. My security cameras had inspired them to protect themselves too. Sarah picked up one of the letters. "Have you thought about what you'll do next? Your story could help a lot of people." I had thought about it. The last 6 months had changed me. I wasn't just a survivor of David's schemes. I was stronger, wiser, and ready to help others. "Actually," I said, "I'm starting a consulting business, teaching women about financial security, documentation, protecting themselves." Turns out there's a real need for it. From victim to advocate, Detective Martinez nodded approvingly. Perfect. As my friends chatted and laughed, I looked up at the ceiling fan, the first camera that had changed everything. Its red light still blinked steadily, but it no longer represented fear or betrayal. Now it was a symbol of empowerment. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from an unknown number. "Mrs. Chen, I'm one of the women your ex-husband scammed. Thank you for stopping him. You've given us all hope." I smiled, typing back, "Stay strong. Document everything. And never let anyone tell you to leave quietly." The cameras caught this moment too, me surrounded by friends, building a new life from the ashes of David's betrayal. But this footage wasn't evidence of crimes. It was proof that sometimes the happiest endings come after you stand your ground. Sarah raised her glass again. "To new beginnings." "To new beginnings," we echoed, and to security cameras. Laughter filled my kitchen, replacing the memories of threats and schemes. David and Amber were facing justice, and I was free to write my own next chapter. Sometimes the best revenge isn't running away. It's standing your ground and letting the truth speak for itself, one video frame at a time.